Hey guys, welcome back to the Courageous Nerd YouTube channel for another interview. Joining me today is actor Peter Bundic, and we chatted all about his role as Carl Tappert on Netflix's Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, as well as co-starring alongside Katherine Langford and Charlie Plummer in Spontaneous. If you enjoyed this interview or any of the others on the channel, please be sure to like and subscribe. Great, so welcome and thank you for taking the time to do this.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Right, and I suppose, how did you first discover your interest in acting, and did you ever consider pursuing anything else?
Yeah, so I actually discovered my interest in acting through my older sister. She wanted to join an acting class and
Mm.
tagged me along with her, and I was actually really nervous and shy as a little kid. So I didn't know how I'd feel about it at first. We ended up having a lot of fun together, and shortly after that, I met my agent, and then just started getting into it and actually starting to enjoy it and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I suppose obviously a big recent project of yours, you played Carl Tapper on Netflix's Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which has just ended. But so I guess what stands out in your mind about your experience on the show?
Oh, well, the whole experience was fantastic.
Mm.
From day one working on the set, all of the casting crew were so friendly, helpful. Everybody on the set was just so easy to work with.
So yeah, I guess as someone who was in the first episode of the show, like how did you feel kind of watching it grow in popularity?
Um, yeah, I mean, I love the old Sabrina, and then
Mm.
watching the new like I guess Archie universe
Yeah,
Greendale
yeah.
Sabrina come in was really cool for me to watch, as I also enjoy watching Riverdale.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, watching the show's been really cool. It's so interesting to see which parts of the world really like the show and where it's been gaining its popularity and how many viewers there are all around the world. It's really cool to me.
Yeah, and I suppose again, because you were there from the start, going in, the cast was very established with different fan bases. Obviously, you know, Kiernan Shipka's known for Mad Men, Ross Lynch was on Disney, Lucy Davis, Wonder Woman, and the BBC Office. I suppose, did you have any pressure, or did you feel any pressure when you booked it, working people like that?
Yeah, so I I didn't feel any pressure. I always kind of tell myself before an audition or anything, just relax, be calm,
Mm.
and just go out there and have fun. So that's what I did, and then I was absolutely ecstatic when I heard that I'd be working on the show, and I just couldn't wait to actually go on set after I got that call.
Yeah, and I suppose this might be a relatively easy question to answer, but do you see any like similarities between yourself and Carl, or is it more differences?
Definitely more differences.
Mm.
I think it was easy for me to play that role and kind of put myself into what Carl's shoes would have been because I've been on sports teams and I kind of understand like how jocks can act. So it was almost
Yeah,
easy for me to emulate that. But on the personal level, Carl and I differ very much. He's also not very understanding. His character is very homophobic at the beginning of the show and can be a bit of a dick. And like I like to be nice to everybody. I love
yeah,
everybody. And so definitely different playing a little bit of a bully character, but I could kind of like enact his overall being just with my understanding of like how jocks can behave.
yeah. And I suppose it kind of looking another aspect of your career aside from the show, you're also in Spontaneous starring Katherine Langford. So how would you describe your character Steve from that film?
Yeah, my character Steve was actually written down in the description. Steve, everybody likes Steve, so he's just supposed to be a likable, upbeat, fun guy.
Mm.
And actually, when I auditioned for the show, I auditioned for a different character, but the director Brian was saying that he liked the audition, and he was in the room actually for the first audition,
Yeah.
and we just had such a fun time with it that they ended up adding in a couple more lines and little scenes here and there throughout the shoot for me to do and just work with and have fun.
Yeah, and Spontaneous itself is based on a novel written by Aaron Starmer. So were you familiar with the book beforehand, and did you read it when you got the role?
Yeah, so when I got the role, I read the book
Mm.
and just to get myself familiarized with the whole story and of course the whole script. And I always like seeing movies being made about books after. I know some people say it's harder to make a book work in the
Yeah.
movie, but I feel like they did a great job. And again, like that was such a fun set to work on.
Yeah, and I guess similarly to yourself, like Katherine Langford has the same background of being on Netflix. So did you have an opportunity to kind of share those kind of experiences on the set spontaneous?
Yeah, everybody was super open, inclusive. We were all sitting around in a big acting green room as opposed to trailers with how the setup was. So everybody, including Catherine, was super, super open to just chatting
Mm,
and sharing their experiences, having a good time, playing some games on set when we didn't have anything to do. There was actually one time where Charlie, Catherine, a few other actors, and myself were in the green room waiting for a scene to be set up. And we started playing this game where we found a ping pong ball
mm,
and a roll of tape. So we'd start
yeah.
putting a roll of tape on top of books and then on top of shelves. And we keep trying to get the ping pong ball stuck inside. And that occupied us for as many hours as we needed in between setups.
Yeah, and in a more general sense, how have you been keeping yourself busy during this ongoing pandemic we're all in?
Yeah, well, the pandemic at first I found really stressful, not knowing what to fill with my time and
Mm,
having being used to my schedule, having been so busy before, constantly a go, go, go type of schedule. I didn't really know what to do at first. So then I started just working out more, doing my own little workouts, going for walks in the park, reading a lot, listening to podcasts, and watching a lot of TV. I find just keeping
yeah.
my mind occupied and trying to stay a little active is the best you
Mm.
can do.
Do you have any good TV recommendations of stuff you're watching?
Oh, well, I absolutely binged the first or the last season of Sabrina when it came out amongst a few other shows.
Yeah.
Spontaneous, cool, nicely enough as well, came out around the pandemic time, so I was able
Mm.
to watch those with my family, which was quite enjoyable.
Yeah, and I guess if there's anyone who's reading or watching this interview wanted to find out more about your work or about you, where could they look for that?
Yeah, absolutely. They could find me at Peter Bundic on Instagram, Twitter,
Mm.
and Facebook. And I'm happy to reach out if any fans have any questions on Instagram. I'm looking through them and I'm always happy to go through and respond, reach it back out.
Yeah, and it's the last question I've got. And looking ahead to the rest of 2021, what do you hope to accomplish in this year?
I just hope to keep growing as an individual. I love acting with my whole heart, and
Mm.
I would just love to continue to get the opportunities to showcase what I can do and the chance to be able to go out and work on something that always feels like I get to play. It doesn't feel like work.
Great, that's great. So thanks again for taking the time to talk with me today, and best of luck with your future projects.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.